Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Apologies, I am a few minutes late. Busy morning, but it is another bullish day in the crypto market, folks. I hope you are excited because we're still in the midst of this thing and it's not over. Despite volatility, despite, a lot of fears and uncertainty and all these things, we're still on track. And we're going to go through everything. Good morning, Crypto Rafi. Thank you so much for the €2 donation. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. David R. Morla, welcome in. Vine Dev token will unlock on the 17th. Hopefully we'll get an update. Good morning, Josh Clark. Morning, H-Bar Bulls. Yeah, we're going to talk about H-Bar. I hope you caught my recent interview, Josh, with Eric Piscini of Hashgraph, because we talked a lot about H-Bar and Hedera and much more. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Folks, on your way in, smash the thumbs up button. Smash the like button, the heart button, wherever you're watching and listening, because we're streaming on multiple platforms right now. Let me actually go live on Instagram. We're on Rumble, on Instagram. We are everywhere. LinkedIn, Facebook, X, of course, YouTube, of course. Simple Gospel, welcome in from Australia. What part of Australia are you in? Michael Carter, great to have you. Says H-Bar to $1.22. Michael, I would love that. I would make some really nice returns on H-Bar. I think H-Bar certainly could smash $1 this cycle. Not guaranteed, of course, but it's been showing a lot of strength, and we're going to look at the chart, of course. Simple Gospel is in Sydney. Very cool. I want to visit someday. Australia is on my list of places to visit. XP Market, great to have you, my friend. Thank you for being a channel member and your support over the years. Thank you so much. Lots to go through, folks. It's a big week for the markets. We're going to hear from the Fed. But even on Thursday and Friday, you have the Bank of England rate decision and the Bank of Japan's rate decision. So a big week for central banks. And I think, we could see some favorable news that will get the markets going because we've been kind of stuck in a way, even though there's been some movement with altcoins. The stock market has been hitting new highs. But we need that extra oomph, if you know what I mean, some sort of catalyst, something to set us off a bit to the upside. So I think that's what's going to come this week. But of course, you got to expect volatility. Simple Gospel says, Australia is the best country in the world. Enjoy your show for the last 3 years. Thank you. Appreciate that for tuning in. And yeah, I want to visit Australia. It's on my list. It's one of those places where, I've seen videos and documentaries and different things, and I want to come visit. So I will definitely try to do that sometime in the near future. Ted's Life, $2.98. Laugh out loud. I don't know what you're talking about with $2.98. Hub, great to have you. Good afternoon from the Netherlands. Thank you for tuning in. All right, folks, don't forget, hit the thumbs up button, the heart button, the like button, wherever you're watching and listening. It helps support the stream. It's Just Me says, hi, Tony. All the best from Glasgow over the UK. Thanks for tuning in. My brother-in-law lives in the UK. I have to visit him soon. Okay, folks. So, I think we all know this is a very big week. We're going to hear from 3 central banks, the most important being the Federal Reserve here in the United States. And the market is anticipating that we're going to see a 25 basis point cut. But we could get a surprise and get 50 basis points. But I think we're going to go with 25 basis points. It will be the first cut in the year of 2025. But we're also going to hear from the Bank of England and the Bank of Japan. So you have these macro catalysts lining up here that could really spark and give the markets a push upwards because, Bitcoin has been just consolidating. One of the things I was telling you guys I was concerned about is on the weekly chart, the bears are in control. I often tell you guys, hey, let's look at the chart and let's see who's in control. Sometimes it's the bulls because the markets are cyclical. Right now it's the bears. So let's see how long this lasts. It may not last that long, but if Bitcoin were to start going down due to the volatility, we could see altcoins move. And we've been seeing quite a good amount of movement from the altcoins, which is a great sign, even though we're correcting a bit here. But, you look at the coin market cap list, You had some coins that were doing okay, like Doge and Solana. They were moving pretty strong over the past 7 days. But once again, we're seeing a bit of a pullback. So this week, expect a lot of volatility. Don't be surprised if we get a flush out and all of a sudden people are panicking, right? Anytime there's an FOMC meeting, any type of update from the Fed, you have these type of scenarios. But from a macro perspective, folks, a macro perspective now, zoom out, no emotions, just the data. We're on track. Here's some great charts from the Merlin Trader guys, and credit to them. You should check out their YouTube channel. You know, we're seeing very similar setups to what we've seen in the past. For example, 2017 to where we're at now, one could call that stage 4, right, of the cycle. And we're using Bitcoin as the measuring stick, of course, because altcoins will follow Bitcoin. Let me make myself smaller so you guys can see what's happening here. So again, patience is a key. We're going to experience volatility. We're going to experience pullbacks. That's all part of the process, right? It's how the sausage is made, as they would say. So we still got more upside and we have to be patient. Here's another example of similar patterns and setups we've seen in the past. So we haven't entered that parabolic phase yet, and that's the fun part. That's where a lot of money is made. Don't get me wrong. If you bought in the bloody bear market of, let's say, 2022, December 2022 to January 2023, your portfolio is up right now. So entry price is an important factor, but a lot of, like I said, a lot of the gains are, and the fun part of the market is that parabolic stage. So we have to be patient here and let the market do its thing. One thing that I've been highlighting to you guys is global liquidity, which it appears global liquidity has broken its all-time high that is set into, you know, as far as the leading indicator showing that it was topping out in October. It looks like it's about to break it or has broken it by a little bit, but this has been the leading indicator which all assets are following, whether that be the stock market, crypto, real estate, precious metals, right? I've highlighted to you guys, gold has been on a tear. The stock market, the S&P 500 making new highs, NASDAQ making new highs. So again, the thesis is we are in a macro bull market for all asset classes, and it's all following global liquidity. As the central banks keep injecting liquidity, doing quantitative easing, and much more, it is pushing asset prices higher. This is nothing new. It has been going on for a long time. And this is why you have to understand the economics of currency debasement and why you need to put your money in assets so that they outpace the debasement, right? Because if you just leave your assets or your cash or your currency in a bank account, you know, the pace of debasement and inflation is going to steal the purchasing power. So you have to put some of your cash in assets. And as Paul Tudor Jones said, Bitcoin and crypto is the fastest horse in the race. So yes, you can invest in the stock market. Yes, you can invest in real estate and precious metals, but crypto's outperforming all of those assets. So that's why we're here, right? To get some financial returns and make our lives better, and to get as much as possible out of this young asset class, because the returns are not going to be the same as we continue. The law of diminishing returns, shows us that we're getting less and less, but it's still more upside than we're seeing in the stock market. So this is why the volatility works both ways. You get those massive swings high, very high. It gives you huge returns, but you also get the swings that go low. So once you understand this and you're not emotional about it, it will really help you to make money in the market. So folks, we're waiting for, altcoins to rip. I know many of you hold altcoins, not all of you hold Bitcoin, but the show follows Bitcoin. The market follows Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin starts picking up steam, we're going to see altcoins break into new all-time high. And this is the total 3 chart, by the way. So this excludes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stable coins. Now, one of the key factors we've seen historically is that the altcoins generally follow Ethereum's strength. I don't make the rules. That's just how it's been. So we're waiting for ETH to break into new highs. So I think depending on what news we get this week, we could see that spark. That doesn't mean we're going to pump immediately, like to, massive gains in one day. Obviously, this is going to play out over weeks and months, but we need that spark that's going to bring back retail interest and open up new capital to come into the market. So keep an eye on Ethereum because it has been a leading indicator for the market, the altcoin market cap. So hope you guys understand what's happening here. So again, let's wait till Wednesday. Let's see what the Fed comes out with in addition to Thursday and Friday with the Bank of England, Bank of Japan. I think it's going to be the same story as we've seen historically. The fiat money system requires that they have to keep printing. They have to lower the rates to service the debt because that's the system. It's a debt-based system. So this is why you have to be patient and go through the cycles and wait for these things to happen so that you can reap the gains, right? Because the assets are going to follow. But we're still on track. No invalidation of the bull market. Everything's still on track here, folks. And some of the other metrics I've been sharing with you guys, such as global liquidity, but also what the Bitcoin whales are doing. If you just look at this chart, accumulation. Yes, there are ebbs and flows, dips, and some whales take profits, but the overall trend is higher and higher and higher. So they continue to accumulate. So the bull market's not over yet, folks. And there's other signals, we're going to look at as things start heating up, but I don't want to go through them today because there's no point, right? We still got ways to go. So things are moving in the right direction, folks. And USDT dominance still showing a lot of weakness, still in a downtrend, right? Despite the ebbs and flows, but you can see it's on the way down. And as I've been telling you guys, that thing breaks 4% and then 3.7%. It's party time. It's going to be euphoria. All that liquidity is going to go straight into the crypto market. And this is going to be a big one because, those previous local tops in this bull market, like Q1 of 2024, Q4 of 2024, those were just, your mini rallies in the bull market. It hasn't been the parabolic phase yet. So we're on our way to it. Bitcoin dominance right now, still in a downtrend, still showing weakness, but as I mentioned, ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys on the way down. So notice how this Bitcoin dominance drop is larger than the one we saw in Q4. It's to my point, right? We're entering the bigger parabolic phase, so you're going to see bigger drops, which is good. This is good. You want to see this. Same thing with USDT dominance, bigger drops here. So showing that, things are really going to get pretty crazy in a good way. So everything's still on track, folks. Folks, quick word from our sponsors, and that is Uphold. Great platform to buy, sell, and stake your crypto assets. I've been a user since 2018. They're easy to use. They have a great app, never had any issues. So check them out. Also check out Trezor. I use the Trezor Safe 5 hardware wallet. They make beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to custody your assets. Self-custody is the way, folks. And you can use the code ThinkingCrypto to get 5% off. All one word, ThinkingCrypto. Check out Propy. They're leading the charge of putting real estate on chain. I'm a Propy token holder. We know real estate will be tokenized, so you can buy and sell your house on Propy using crypto, which is pretty amazing. Also, check out VeChain, one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains out there. They're getting adoption from many big brands and companies around the world. They're partnering with Dana White in the UFC. Most recently, Dana White said he bought $1 million in VET token. So I'm a VET token holder. I have been since 2018, so I'm bullish on this project. I just recently interviewed Sunny Liu. It was actually last week, so that interview should be published this week. So check them out. Go to vchain.org. And I Trust Capital, where you can use an IRA to invest in crypto and get tax benefits. And you can trade 24/7. There are no monthly fees. And they also have one of the safest ways to custody your assets, and that's a premium custody account. They use bank-tiered crypto custody services like Coinbase Custody, Fidelity, you got Fireblocks, and much more. So you can rest assured that your assets are safe because this is what the institutions are using. So check out I Trust Capital. If you use my link, you can get a $100 funding bonus. All the links will be in the description, folks. All right, everybody. So like I said, we're still on track. Wednesday's the big day. Obviously, I'll bring you guys the updates, but you can see everybody's waiting in anticipation here to see what's going to happen. Now, let's jump into some news because we got an update here. PayPal is introducing a new peer-to-peer payment system. Here's a quote: "Crypto will soon be directly integrated into PayPal's new P2P system Flow in the app." Very interesting. Everybody's in a race to integrate as much of blockchain and crypto as possible. That should be a big indicator to you of where we're going, right? You got big legacy companies like PayPal and banks and stock exchanges all in this race. They recognize this is the future. So this is why I keep harping on being patient, having the macro view, because if you're caught up in the daily, the hourly, the weekly, the markets will rip you to shreds, right? Because they're very volatile. The whales are playing games to shake people out. But if you stay focused on the facts and what's happening overall and the metrics and the data, and don't be emotional, you could increase your chances of making a really great return. Now, here's another example. I just mentioned stock exchanges. London Stock Exchange launches blockchain platform for private funds. So are they bearish about blockchain and crypto? No, they're bullish. So the platform, called Digital Markets Infrastructure, supports the full lifecycle of digital assets from issuance and tokenization to post-trade settlement. It was developed with Microsoft and runs on Microsoft Azure, the exchange said on Monday. Amazing, amazing stuff here, folks. I mean, I couldn't imagine this news when I got into the market, because you are seeing the largest institutions building now, and it's like the stigma, it was taboo to even talk about this stuff. Now everybody's building. It's incredible. So Microsoft's collaboration with LSEG on the new blockchain-based platform is a powerful example of innovation driving our strategic partnership, according to Bill Borden, Corporate Vice President of Worldwide Financial Services at Microsoft. Amazing, amazing news here. This is the stuff you want to share with crypto skeptics, people who are still on the fence. Ask them why the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the London Stock Exchange, PayPal, JP Morgan, why are they all of a sudden integrating blockchain, building, launching tokenized funds? Just ask them that question. Let them think about it. Now, we continue to see digital asset treasury companies are buying at a record pace. This is very bullish. So if you hold ETH, Solana, XRP, and some of these assets that are being bought, that's very good. You have another avenue, another vehicle that is buying the asset you're holding, creating more scarcity and demand. So Tom Lee's Bitmine tops $10 billion in holdings as Ethereum treasury grows to $2.15 million ETH. Now, they raised billions of dollars to buy ETH. So this is incredible, and they're going to continue to buy more. It's amazing what's happening. This is not something I think anyone saw. It started with MicroStrategy, but no one knew if anyone would continue that trend, let alone go beyond Bitcoin. And clearly they're going beyond Bitcoin. Some more Ethereum news. Ethereum Foundation forms DAI team to make Ethereum a base layer for the AI economy. So the Ethereum Foundation looking like they want to set up the ability for AI agents to be able to settle and use the ETH blockchain. Previously, the organization shared plans to improve privacy, L2 interoperability, and a broader security roadmap to improve UX and security. So again, everybody's in the race, trying to grab as much land share as possible here, especially around AI agents, digital asset treasury companies, stable coins. So the race is on. Competition's great. Competition's healthy for us as users. Look at this. Another Solana treasury company. So Helios Medical Technologies sourced 250% on $500 million Solana treasury raised by Pantera and Summer Capital. So I've interviewed quite a few companies that are doing a Solana treasury. So great to see that these guys their stock prices are going up. So again, the big arbitrage trade here with adding crypto to your balance sheet. Here's another example. Forward Industries kicks off $1.6 billion Solana treasury with 6.8 million SOL acquisition. Incredible. So the company used proceeds from its recently closed $1.65 billion PIPE funding to begin its corporate Solana treasury. Several public firms are tapping public markets to accumulate cryptocurrencies in 2025. Now, hugely bullish, right? I mean, this is going to drive the price of these assets up higher. However, as I've been telling you guys, there's also a bubble forming here. You have a lot of companies looking to do this, and some are not going to be properly run and managed, and there could be some collapses in the bear market. But we're not concerned about that because we're riding the bull market wave to go to the new all-time highs, take our profits, and walk away from the bull market with cash in our pockets, folks. Now, some of you are going to say, I'm not taking profits. That's okay. That's your strategy. That's your plan. Everybody's is different. I personally want to do some things with some fiat currencies, pay off debt, spend, help some family out, and things like that. I've often said there's some Bitcoin I'm never selling. So it's not that I'm liquidating all my crypto, but I'll be taking some of the profits and backing up the truck in the bloody bear market and buying the dips. So that's my plan. I don't know what yours is, but some of you may want to buy a house. Some of you may want to do upgrades to your house. You may want to get rid of debt. You may want to diversify into other assets, right? Nothing wrong with that. I have a stock portfolio. My wife is more on the stock equity side. So, I'm more on the crypto side, and I do have a real estate property. So, it's up to you what you want to do. Everybody's financial situation is different. Now, we continue to see a lot of capital flowing in. The examples I was just sharing with the digital asset treasury companies. But crypto funds post 3.3 billion in weekly inflows, pushing the AUM to near $240 billion. So we are seeing tons of capital coming into this market, which is very, very bullish. It's exciting times. And just last week, Gemini crypto exchange went public. We're seeing a lot of crypto companies going public. So if someone is telling you we're not in a bull market, they're lying to you. They're ignoring the facts, right? And one of the core facts I've been telling you guys about is global liquidity. That has been on the rise. And until that thing starts rolling over, we're still in the bull market. Not to mention the liquidity that's coming in, and whales are continuing to buy, and much more. So exciting times, folks. Folks, don't forget to sign up for my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. Link will be in the description. Check out my book on Amazon and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. Let's refresh CoinMarketCap here and see what's going on. Yeah, it's going to be volatile, folks. So expect some downside chop, just wild swings up and down, right? But just let the dust settle after the Fed announcement, and then I think we're going to start to see things go crazy. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Let me back up here so I can answer your guys' questions. Pre-rich, he says, give me some of that hopium. Johnson. Brodeck Location Services, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you coming in from California. Awesome. Neo says here, the average Joe is not concerned with interest rate cuts, thinking we will have sell the news event. I hope I'm wrong. Well, here's the thing. At certain times, they're not concerned, but I think the president and a lot of the political theater has made it a big issue where people kind of look to that as kind of a signal of, okay, are we going to get cheaper capital, right? Are we going to be able to refinance our homes, get a loan and all that mortgage at a cheaper rate? So I do think this time around, it is something they are concerned about. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that every single person on the planet is, obviously not, but I think a good amount of the population. You know what I mean? The One Warrior says, to answer the live stream title question, the price of crypto will go down, but it will be a bear trap down. Buy the dip and get ready to roll after September 21st. Yeah, I agree with that. Dwayne says, what do you think will happen, Tony? So I don't know if you're talking about the Fed, but I do believe they're going to cut 25 basis points. I do believe we're going to see a lot of volatility this week. Don't be surprised if we get flushed out, but we're still in the bull market, and I think we're going to find our bottom and start moving up. Josh Clark says, thank you for your time and content, Tony. How does HBAR look to you? Any updates on its ETFs? So on the ETF front, because I can answer that really quick, I don't think there's an HBAR futures in the market. So I believe only Solana and XRP are going to get approved because they have the futures markets live on the CME, which the SEC has wanted to see. Now, as far as HBAR, the asset, its chart continues to look great. There's a lot of strength here, folks, right? We saw a ton of strength in Q4. And why do I say that? Because remember, this asset pumped in 2021, right? 2020, 2021, corrected with the rest of the market, obviously, hit a very low bear market bottom here, and then rallied off of that. That is what you want to see in an altcoin. And it did that in the early phases of the bull market. So very strong. And when it corrected in the tariff crash, it didn't take it all back. It held those key support levels. It's still above that 200-day moving average, as you can see here, the green line. And it's consolidating here where it's ready for the next blast off. So I think HBAR is going to do really well. I do hold the asset, so you could say I'm biased, but I'm just looking at the chart here like I would any other chart. And I think that I honestly think HBAR can break $1. How high it goes beyond that, I don't know, but it has a lot happening, strong narratives, and this chart is looking really good. So I'm bullish on this thing. Eric Serrano, great to have you. Yeah, TikTok to blast off time for sure. David R. Morla says, Tony, I would love to hear your professional opinion on Vinecoin if you looked into it. If not, I understand. David, I haven't. I will do that this week. So maybe in the next week's live stream, I can talk a bit about it, but I'm not as educated on it. So I don't want to give people the wrong information. Kyle Scott says, Flare keeps spiking. So I actually interviewed Hugo Filion and the folks from Firelight last week. So that interview should be published this week. And yeah, Flare is showing a lot of strength, man. XRP is very close to going on mainnet. It's currently on DevNet. So Flare, it's very good to see it's not at that bear market bottom. He's not on the floor, right? As I always say, using the elevator analogy, you want to not be in the basement. You don't want to be on the first floor. You want to be on the second floor as we continue into the bull market so that you're at a higher stage to blast off and to hit new highs. I honestly, and I am a Flare token holder, I honestly think Flare could break its all-time high of, what was it, 57 cents, 58 cents? That's not hard. We're not far from it, right? So there's not a ton of liquidity that's needed to push higher. So I'm bullish on Flare. It's the chart is looking good here. I like what I'm seeing. Seconds of meditation. Great to have you, my friend. Brodek Location Services, is CRO going to run hard again, in your opinion? So let's look at Kronos, which is the native token of the crypto.com platform. So let's see here. Okay. So many, this is an exchange token, very much like BNB, and it was in the dumps. I mean, in the bear market dumps, right? Far from its all-time high set back in 2021 of like near $1. But with the recent news of Trump media, they're going to buy the Kronos token, or they already have. It saw a huge spike. So I think there's a huge narrative and a lot of buying that's going to happen of this token from Trump media. And I think a lot of people are going to buy into this token. So I do believe there's more upside. The big question is, does it have enough steam, and visibility to break the all-time high? I'm not sure. That's where I'm not sure, because exchange tokens, they're a bit unique in a sense that it's kind of with the brand of the exchange versus utility. For example, if you look at HBAR, Ethereum, XRP, and so forth, where there's building tokenization happening on those blockchains, it's not the same for an exchange tokens. So it's TBD, but I do believe there's going to be another move here. And it's great to see it's showing life coming off the bear market bottom. So I think the Trump media narrative is going to be a huge one. Frankie says, looks like it's not buy the rumor, sell the news for rate cuts now. Yeah, I agree with you. This is a very different scenario. And I think it's just a spark that the market needs. Again, I don't want you guys to think that as soon as Jerome Powell makes an announcement, we're going to skyrocket the next day or next week. So please make sure you set your expectations. I do believe it's going to change the sentiment of a lot of retail in the market and open up a lot of more capital, because remember, as rates get cut, you can borrow capital at a cheaper rate, whether you're a hedge fund or you're trying to get a mortgage or you're trying to refinance your home or just get a personal loan. Things are going to, capital is going to become cheaper, right? And remember, the government has to service the debt. They're going to do their pseudo QE, which, look, they've been doing a lot of that over the past couple of years, draining the treasury, general account, and much more. So it's all good, in a sense of capital and liquidity coming in. Josh says, hey, Tony, it feels like there won't be such a big dump 90% after the peak this cycle. I know this time is different, but there has been so much adoption. I think we are in a different dynamic now. So, Josh, I think we have to establish a few things. We have to establish there will be a bear market and that there will be a correction, right? Now, when it comes to how big of a dump, to your point, I think I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be 80 to 90%. I think it's going to be less. It could be 50 to 60, right? Or maybe around 50. I don't know. But I agree with that it's not going to be as deep of a bear market. Now, there's always the possibility, because we're talking probabilities here. There's always there's always the probability that something blows up. These digital asset treasury companies blow up big time, a lot of them, and then that drives us to the 70%, 80% situation. But that's TBD. We don't have a crystal ball. But generally, because of the ETFs and much more, I think we don't see as big of a downside, to your point. How's it going, Knox Bill? Great to have you. Yeah, absolutely. Londono, if I'm saying that right. Thank you for joining. Kiza says, hey, Tony, I hope you're good. What's your thoughts on Zebek? I don't know much about Zebek, but I know I've been seeing a lot of mentions about it, but I honestly don't know much about it. I heard that it's like some sort of payroll platform driven blockchain, right? Let's see if you can find a chart here. I mean, it looks like it's been doing pretty good, as far as it's a new token. So it's been rallying. And if you got in early, congrats. You made some good money here. Let's see. Yeah, so it's been rallying recently, which is really great. Launched in 2024 and it's up. So congrats to those of you who invested in this thing. So Zebek is a decentralized decentralized infrastructure network for real-world value flows, founded in 2021. So it was founded in 2021, but the data for its token is only, maybe the token was launched just last year, it seems like. Again, I don't know much about this, but it's doing well. So congrats to those of you who are holding it. Frankie said it's H-bar rock and roll. Yeah, for sure. XP Market says, thinking crypto, what are your thoughts on XRP? Many of you know XRP is my number one holding. It has been doing really well this bull market cycle, and obviously huge narratives. SEC replicates over XRP ETFs in huge demand. There are tons of applications for XRP spot ETF. The features for XRP and the CME is breaking records. So XRP broke its all-time high. We didn't get to enter into full price discovery yet because of the market pullback with the tariffs and much more. But look at this: higher highs, higher lows. That's what you want to see, man. That's a beautiful chart right there. We've already smashed through the short-term rally that took place in 2020, 2021 because of the SEC lawsuit. We broke the 2017, 2018 high. This thing is ready to skyrocket. Again, even if you're not some Wall Street expert and you look at this chart, there's a lot of positive here. Look at where it's at and look at where we're at in the bull market. There's more to go. So I've been saying, I think this thing could go between $8 to $10 because of all the narratives and the demand with the ETFs and much more. So XRP has already been, doing a lot, showing a lot of strength and giving a lot of returns here. So I'm going to start taking profits, once we cross $5 and set, 6, 7, 8, and slowly, I'm not cashing out everything. I'm laddering out. But XRP, man, looking really good. And that's why a lot of Bitcoin maxis are afraid. A lot of them are just unprompted, just taking shots at Ripple and XRP, and they're afraid because a lot of liquidity is going to go to XRP. So it's looking good. If you're an XRP holder, you should be happy, man. I know some people are going to be like, just $3. Well, you got to have a bigger view. I don't know if someone is lying to you, but I'm giving you the data here, right? If someone is telling you 589 or some crazy price prediction, they're lying to you. So make sure you filter out who you listen to, right? They're telling you conspiracy theories and fairy tales. You gotta filter that crap out. We're not here for that, right? We got to be educated, not emotional, not caught up in nonsense. And I'm sharing the chart with you here. I'm telling you about the facts of the ETFs and the SEC case being over. And there's a lot of adoption on the XRP ledger now because the case is over. So if you go to RWA, I think it's rwa.xyz, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. You can view the analytics for many different blockchains. And if we take a look at the XRP ledger, there we go. Look at this growth, right? And notice it's been surging since the SEC case has been over. So the SEC case really held back the adoption of the XRP ledger. So again, not fairy tales, not conspiracy theories, just data and metrics here. So we are seeing RWA value up near 10% over the past 30 days, stablecoin holders up, all these things, right? So this is what you want to see, folks. This is really, really great. So people are tokenizing. You got Ripple stablecoin, and look at the folks that are building on here. You got the Vert Capital, Archax, Ondo. So again, this is data, my friends. No BS, no fairy tales, no conspiracy theories. We are seeing growth, and that is what you want to see. And all these things are going to drive higher value for the network and the price of the native token, which is XRP. So I hope, guys, thumbs up for data, thumbs up for facts, thumbs up for metrics, right? We want to use data, metrics, and facts and so forth. We want to be informed, educated, right? Thumbs up for that. Hit the heart button, hit the 5-star rating. So guys, like I said, XRP primed to blast off here based on the charts, the narrative, the ETFs, the building that's happening on the XRP ledger, and much more. AH says, would love to get your insights on Telcoin and its possible projection for this run. So I've heard of Telcoin. I don't hold it. I remember it was doing, I saw some people post a chart not too long ago that it was ripping. Yeah, this was, well, when was this? In February? Yeah, so let's see here. All right, so I'm using a Fibonacci extension, right? So Telcoin. All right, here's the bad news. It is down significantly from its all-time high. It's not showing that much strength. So there's some movement here, but you can see it's not far off the bear market bottom. So I'm not saying it can't run. I'm not saying it won't run, right? But it needs to show more strength. If we were just looking at the H-bar chart and we were looking at the XRP chart, this is not anywhere close to that. So we need to see more life here. But at least the silver lining here, it is off that bear market bottom, which is good. So we need to give time for it to run. But in the situation like this, a coin that has not shown much strength yet, as the bull market continues, it reduces the chances of it breaking the all-time high, right? As opposed to, like I said, if you look at H-bar, lots of strength off the bear market bottom significantly. So it's not far from its all-time high. So as the bull market continues, it has a higher probability of breaking its all-time high. So I hope you understand that. No bias, just reading off the charts and where we're at in the market and what's to come. Again, another prime example, XRP, right? Solana is also another example. Solana, tons of strength, very close to the all-time high. So as the bull market continues, it doesn't need a ton of liquidity or much effort to just blast through that all-time high. So that's how I'm looking at it, folks. Frankie says H-bar is part of the US crypto narrative. Yeah, for sure. Zico says, what's your opinion on Say? So I remember interviewing someone from the Say Foundation months back. Let's see how Say is looking here. I don't know if this is the best chart, but let's see. Maybe Binance. Okay. So this was the Say token launch in 2023. I don't know much of the history here. So I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, it looks like it was 2023. So let's see what we can do here. So if it was launched in 2023, it did really well in 2024 at beginning, right? Has taken back a lot of the gains. Clearly, it ran up in December. I would have liked to see more strength in December because now it's kind of in a downtrend. The good thing is above the 200-day moving average, so it has room to run here. But I would have loved to see more strength as a new token, like kind of what Zebek did, right? I pulled up the Zebek chart earlier. A new token, and it's making new highs, right? It's on the uptrend. This is kind of like on the downtrend a bit. And again, that could flip, right? Because it's not far from the all-time high. So I'm not saying that it can't rally, but I want to see more strength. But again, we still got ways to go in this bull market, so it could start rallying and catch up to the market. Tem Bond says, could you please tell me if any positive vibe is there for AI coin NMR? I don't know what NMR is. Never heard of it. I'll pull it up here. I don't know if there's even data for it. Is it this Numeraire or something like that? Yeah, don't know much about this. An Ethereum-based platform allowing developers and data scientists to experiment and create machine learning models. Yeah, no, I haven't heard about this. Let me see if there's anything on the charts, if there's even a chart for it. Okay, it looks like it's on Coinbase. How long has this project been around? Jesus. So the bad news is it spiked significantly in 2017. I don't know if this is the same project. NMR. Let me just try something. Yeah, okay. NMR. In 2021 didn't do much, and it's pretty much down at the bear market bottom. So need to see more strength. This is pretty brutal, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's got ways to go, man. Now, as always, guys, I always mention, even if a coin doesn't break its all-time high, if you bought at the bear market bottom and it just rallies up to near its all-time high or halfway, you're making money. So something to keep in mind. Entry price is very important to how you can make money in this market. This is why it's always important, if you're taking a bet, to buy the blood on the streets, right? Don't buy tops, don't buy pumps, because if that coin never gets back to where it's all-time high, you reduce your chances of making money. But if you buy the bloody bear market, even a 20% upside, you make some money, right? Duran says, hey, Tony, are you familiar with NBA Top Shot and the Flow token? Would love to hear your advice on it. I've heard of NBA Top Shot. I don't know about the Flow token. So this would be the first time I'm encountering it in a sense. Is NBA Top Shot built on the Flow blockchain, if that's what it is? Let's see. consumer apps, and yeah, don't know much about this, but I do know about NBA Top Shot with the NFTs and all those things that they had put out, but don't know much about this project. It's down pretty significantly, pretty bad actually. Yeah, wow. It was at one point $37. Now it's at 39 cents. That's pretty brutal if this is the right flow project. Let's see here. Crypto Rafi says, Tony, what is your meaning about the 4-year cycle? Is that going to end in the future? So this is something I highlight in my course, by the way, guys, about the 4-year cycles. So one of the things we thought was driving the 4-year cycles was the Bitcoin halving, but it's actually not the Bitcoin halving. It's the election cycle. I know that's going to be like, what? The election cycle? What does that have to do with markets? Well, people who are the incumbents want to stay in office, and people who get into office want to make things look good. So what happens? They work with the Fed to inject liquidity, and the markets go up. Crypto and stocks and all these things are all following global liquidity, right? So this is where the macro is important. It's all following global liquidity, and the global liquidity comes from the central banks and the governments. And like I said, a president comes into office, or the existing incumbent wants to stay in office, they try to make things look good. So that's why we've seen, if I can zoom out here a bit, let's see if I can align this. So 2016, Trump comes in, market rallies. 2020, right? Biden comes in, market rallies. 2025, 2024, Trump comes in, market rallies. Do you see the cyclical pattern here? It's been driven by liquidity. So this is where we thought, again, it was driven by the Bitcoin halving. The Bitcoin halving is just happens to be in the same cyclical pattern of the 4 years as the election cycle. So that's what's driving the markets, and that's where the 4-year cycle comes from. And shout out to Raoul Pal, macro investor, for doing that research, because when he broke it down, that's when I started seeing like, oh, I get it. This is what's happening. It's all a liquidity trade here. And then you look at what the Fed is doing and what the Treasury is doing, again, around those election times, and you see the same pattern. It's crazy. Primordial says, what about the meme coin bonk? Primordial, I don't really look at meme coins. It's hard to judge them, so I tend to avoid them. So I don't hold bonk, and I don't usually tell people to jump into meme coins. So Nova Crypto, great to have you. Dwight Perry says, what indicators do you use on TradingView? So I use the 200-day moving average, which is this green line. I have the M2 Global Liquidity Index, which is, once again, global liquidity, right? I also have here a bunch of the moving averages. So like the 21 EMA, Bollinger Bands, and so forth, that I use different ones to get an idea of what's happening in the market. Obviously, I use RSI. That's a key one. And the MACD. RSI is here, MACD right here, to get an idea of what's happening. There's also, I use a variety of indicators. There's also the 20, 50, 100 moving day average. This is very helpful as well. Let me turn off this global liquidity. It's messing up my view here. Yeah, so you see these trend lines, right? And my ultimate is the 200-day moving average. I often tell you guys that is like your above and below type marker, because above, bull market, below, bear market, right? Just zoom out, go on the stock market anywhere, use that 200-day moving average. It'll tell you where we're at. And that doesn't mean we don't dip below it here and there. But if we're under it for an extended period of time in a downtrend, we are in a bear market. So these are some of the things that I'm looking at, or that I use. Kiza says, were you at a meeting with Zebek a few months back with Proppy? I was not. I didn't even know about that. But thanks for asking. Folks, once again, check out our sponsors. Uphold, great place to buy, sell, and stake crypto assets. Trezor, they make beautiful hardware wallets, easy for you to self-custody your assets. Use the code ThinkingCrypto to get 5% off. Thinking Crypto, all one word. Check out Proppy. They are putting real estate on chain, and I'm a Proppy token holder. I'm very bullish on this project because we know real estate's going to be tokenized. Also, check out VeChain. They're one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains out there. I'm a VET token holder. They're partnered with the UFC and Dana White and many other companies and big brands such as the Boston Consulting Group and much more. Check out iTrust Capital, great way to invest in crypto and get tax benefits. They also have a premium custody account that makes it easy for you to self-custody your assets. So this is a great option. They're using bank-tiered crypto custody services such as Coinbase Custody, Fireblocks, and much more. All right, let's jump back to the charts here, answer some more questions. Frankie says, do you think we will see 500% increase of different crypto like 2017? Yeah, so one of the charts I shared at the beginning is that we still have more upside here. So I do believe the parabolic phase is coming, and we are going to see big gains for Bitcoin as well as many altcoins. We know altcoins outperform Bitcoin, but I do believe Bitcoin still has a bit more to go here. And the folks at Merlin Trader highlighted here, we're in stage 4. Here's another example, very similar setup to 2017 before that parabolic move. So get ready, folks. We still got more upside, more liquidity is coming. That's why this week is very important. If we hear about the rate decision, because it's not even that the rates are cutting, is what the central banks have to do after they cut the rates. They're going to have to inject more liquidity, print, service the debt, right? So that's what's happening, my friends. Thanks, David. Yeah, I'll definitely, like I said, look into Vine. SWI. Okay, I do have some SWI tokens in my portfolio. SWI has been getting a lot of liquidity this cycle. It has a huge narrative. A lot of VCs are backing it as well. And look at this, folks. This is what I talk about when I say look at these charts, right? What do we see here? Higher highs, higher lows, right? Notice the lows are even the more important factor. From the bear market low, higher low, higher low. So it's showing a lot of strength. It is not far from the all-time high of just over $5. So you can imagine it's not going to take much liquidity for this thing to smash through and go to $7-8. Right? Based on where it's at. So you want to see strength. This is why I'm saying you want to see strength on these charts, right? So this is looking good. I am bullish on SWI, holding my portfolio. Thanks, Fred. Thank you for tuning in. Zora 10, thank you for the donation, the $1.99. Thank you, my friend. Any thoughts on Moonwell? So if I remember correctly, Moonwell is the one establishing DeFi on Coinbase. I had interviewed the CEO of Moonwell. So this coin was launched in 2024, rallied up. So there's not much data. So let's see what we can extrapolate here. I think it could do well because it's part of the Coinbase ecosystem. It's powering a lot of the DeFi components, their Bitcoin lending and much more to Bitcoin loans. But right now, not showing too much strength. So we need to see more strength, more life. Again, we still got ways to go where a lot of these coins could catch up. And it's not far from its all-time high, right? So it was at 11 cents, 12 cents, around there. It's currently at 2 cents. So not too far, but need to see more strength, right? And I don't hold the token, so just heads up on that. Yeah, Luke Youngblood. So I interviewed Luke Youngblood. I met him at the Coinbase Crypto Summit earlier this year as well. So they're doing some pretty cool things. Philip says Rex XRP this week. Are they doing a different? Are they doing that C Corp setup? That's something that they've been doing to bypass the spot ETF. Yeah, it might be they are doing. Yeah. So, Philip, thank you for highlighting this. Rex Osprey's been doing a different type of ETF under the Investment Company Act of 1940. The majority of the ETF filings are under the 1933 Act, which is the traditional way of doing things with the spot ETF. So I think it's a smart move on their part to go this route to get the first ETF on the market, but I think more people are going to go for the spot ETF. So let's see if they eventually try to convert this to the 33 type setup. But they did this for Solana, and I believe they did it for Doge as well. So very interesting move on their part. And again, not necessarily a bad move, but it's different. And there are some implications of doing it this way, which may not be as beneficial as the 33 Act setup. Axel says, what about Casper? Bought a while ago as a wild card. Chart looks kind of crappy. Let's see, Casper. I don't hold this token, but let's see here. I'm assuming is this one, CSPR. Oh, chart looks brutal here. Let's look at it over here on TradingView. CSPR. Let's try Bitstamp. Is this the best data? Let's see. Is there like a Coinbase? Let's see. Okay, this looks like a better chart. Oh my God, this is a brutal chart. Oh my God, guys, this is a nasty chart. Oh my goodness. Is this a glitch? No, has to be a glitch. That cannot be real. Man. It was like a big L. That's brutal, man. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good chart here that doesn't seem skewed. Some of these charts are weird. I wonder if Casper changed something in their setup. And let's see, Qcoin. It's hard to tell what's real here, what's going on. Some of these charts are weird, man. What was the one I was looking at just now? Let's see, crypto.com. Okay, crypto.com looks okay. Okay, this is a rough chart, to say the least. It's down to a very low, not showing a lot of strength. But again, because we're still waiting on the parabolic phase of this market, rising tide lifts all boats. So we could see the market go crazy and a lot of these coins wake up. But if a coin is not showing any strength, it reduces its probability of it breaking into new highs. So again, you got to really do an assessment here and make sure you're following the timeline of the market. Are we in the top zone? If so, where is my coin? Has it made any progress? So Casper is not looking too great here, unfortunately. Chicken Tonight says, Tony, is the interview happening with BitTrue? Did they reply back? If not, could you please tweet about it so it can get noticed? I haven't heard anything, but I'm not sure what's going on. What's going on with BitTrue? I haven't heard back from them. So, Greg Alexander says, how do you feel about the Bitcoin on Base token in Base? Do you mean wrapped Bitcoin like CB BTC? Because they've done that for other assets too, like CB XRP. Is that what you're referring to, Greg? Adam Cook, it says, hey Tony, Adam here from South Jersey. Thoughts on what Render could do potentially. So I'm a Render token holder, Adam. So let me pull that up. I am bullish on this token. I do believe the AI narrative is still very strong, especially in the open market. But I have to admit a lot of these AI tokens have given back a lot of their gains. So render, this, right? I got to be realistic. I am a token holder, but this is pretty rough, if you know what I mean. Let me make this chart a bit more easier to view here. It's taking back all the gains, and that is pretty brutal, man. My hope, though, is that the AI narrative is so strong, right, that it starts to recoup. The good thing is not far from the all-time high, so it's not like it has to climb Mount Everest to get back to new highs, but I want to see more strength. And again, not being biased, I hold the token, so my hope is that it starts rallying and the AI narrative starts picking up again. Adam says Disney is building on Flow too. I'll have to check out Flow, but when we looked at the chart, it didn't look good. So again, though, some of these what do you call it? Coins could catch up as things start going crazy. Folks, I'm going to wrap up soon because it's been over an hour. Ryan, thank you so much for being a channel member. Thank you so much. Yeah, my pleasure, Ryan. Thank you for tuning in. BitTrue is running without a CEO. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't use BitTrue. So if they're running without a CEO, you should probably maybe stay away from them. It might be pretty, you never know, right? That's not a good sign. Yeah, for sure, Adam. I will let you know. I am thinking of doing possibly a crypto event in New York City this fall where people from the tri-state area can come join. It'll be free, of course. We'll have food and drinks and all that just to have a good time. So I will definitely let everybody know if I do that. And yeah, we can all come celebrate together. Bad for your kidney. What's your opinion on Vivo Power buying 100 million of Ripple shares and XRP at 40 cents? I don't think they bought Ripple shares at 40 cents, but I'm assuming you meant XRP. Well, that's good. I mean, they're just like these digital asset treasury companies. They are buying the asset, and that's, I think, very good. They become a big holder, so it's good in my opinion. All right, guys. Like I said, check out our sponsors: Uphold, Trezor, Propy, VeChain, iTrust Capital. Sign up for my free email newsletter. Check out my book on Amazon and my course at mycryptocourse.com. All the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm wishing you all the best of luck in this bull market, that you make incredible returns. I'll catch you in the next live stream next Monday. And as the bull market heats up, I'll be doing more live streams and give you guys the updates of where we're at and what we can anticipate. And like I said, possibly doing a crypto event in New York City may sometime in this fall, as if the markets goes in the direction we're thinking. As far as timeline, I do believe we're still in the bull market and we're going to see new highs, but I don't have a crystal ball as far as the timeline, but I think things will eventually start moving. Just hang in there. Remember, this week is going to be volatile. You're going to see probably some crazy swings, ups and downs, so don't panic. Let's see what the Fed and these other central banks come out with, and we'll go from there. Thank you, guys, and I'll talk to you all later.